Well, hello everybody. I'm a I'm a sucker for flatheads, I guess. I was cruising Facebook Marketplace the other day, and this motor came up on it, and it was complete from the fan up front all the way through to the transmission in the back. The hogshead bell housing, 3-speed transmission, even the front exhaust crossover tube was there, starter, alternator, everything, flywheel, from it was complete. So it piqued my interest, and when I zoomed in on the picture, the guy had it listed as a Ford engine. When I zoomed in on the picture, I was able to see the 1 cm on the heads. The picture was kind of blurry, so I know that Mercury's also have a 4-bolt carburetor and intake manifold, so I was trying to look at that, couldn't quite see if it was 4-bolt or 3-bolt. So I called the guy, talked to him, went out there and took a look at it, and when I got there I saw it was a 3-bolt, so we don't know if it's a Mercury. Mercury's had 1 cm on the heads. Okay, so I don't know if it's a Mercury or not. It's also got C1BA here. I think it's a Canadian block maybe. But we're going to open it up. We are going to check the crank throw to see if it's a 4-inch Merc crank. And then flip it over. We'll take the intake manifold off. Take a look at the inside, check valves and valve springs, see if valves are rotating, all that stuff. Oil pan off, check the bearings. But anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do with this engine, but like I said, I'm a sucker for flatheads, so it's hard to pass up a good deal. So we'll see what's inside. Hang on. Okay, go ahead and pop it off, Mike. See what's in there.
Give it a shot. Oh,
yep.
Came off easy.
Got to lift that gasket up here. Okay. Wow, not bad actually. It's not all gunked up like old oil or anything. Not bad. I've opened them up before where it's just total gummy sludge in there. Looks like it has stock lifters. Alright, well, not too bad. Okay, we're getting ready to pull the heads off here, but I saw something I've never seen before on a flathead. This has a wire on it. It looks like it was an old plug on the end. I'm thinking maybe that was like an old style block heater, but what's weird is it's only on one side. So I don't know what that is, but we'll pull it off when we pull the heads out. Hopefully all the head bolts will come out. Here we go. Okay, we got the bolts loose off the head here. We're going to try to get it off. Put your hand there. Or not. Ready?
Yeah.
There it goes.
Got it.
Alright, let's see what we got here. Carbon buildup, but not too bad. Let me see that head, Mike. Yeah, carbon buildup. Not too bad. Okay. Can't quite see if there's any markings on the pistons yet. We'll have to clean those up. Yeah, we'll pull the other head off now. Alright, got the passenger side head off. We did find a little bit of water in this cylinder here, and it does look like it's been in there for a little while. You can see a little corrosion on the cylinder walls. When I got this engine, the guy said it was pulled out of course they all say this, pulled out of a running, driving 51 Ford Coupe. and he had it in his barn for 30 years, I think he said, before he pulled it out. So it was inside, covered up, but yeah, it looks like a little bit of water was in there at some point. And it didn't turn over when I got the motor, but when I was taking off the flywheel, just trying to loosen up the flywheel bolts, the motor turned over. And I only turned it over, I didn't even turn it a whole rotation, because I wasn't sure how the cylinders were or anything, if there was anything in there, so I didn't want to do that. But we're going to turn it over, check the stroke. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe it is a Mercury motor with a 4-inch crank. I don't know. We'll find out here in a second. Okay, got it flipped over and the whole pan pulled off. We did measure this stroke, and it is a Ford crank, 3 3/4 inch stroke. So I didn't get luck out there. I was hoping, but anyway, we will keep going on a little bit just to see like if the mains have been turned or the rod bearings or anything like that. But the motor is actually in pretty decent shape so far. This is the car motor. It has the narrow pulleys and the car water pump mounts. Okay, so cleaned off the top of one of these pistons, and we can see that it is 40 thousandths over bore. All the valves go up and down. We have one stuck intake valve, but it's just stuck at the valve guide. So we got some WD-40 soaking in there. And thought I'd show you what I do for a quick inspection is I got a little wire wheel for my drill, and I just clean that area up between the valve pockets and the cylinder and just do a quick visual. Like say if you're going to go look at a flathead to buy and the head's off, this is a good way to do a quick visual. A lot of times you'll find them cracked right here, and then you know to go ahead and pass on that one. So we're going to clean those up and check that out. We already checked out the pan rail underneath, and it seems to be good for a visual check. So far we're doing all right. Okay, well, we after looking at this engine closer, it's in really good shape. There's like little to no ridge on the cylinder walls, so I think it was rebuilt and not a lot of miles put on after that. So we're going to try to save and reuse the pistons and rings and everything. So we're going to go ahead and disassemble the whole engine and get I'll pressure check the block. If it's good, then we'll take it and get it magnafluxed and do what the machine shop needs to do. But thought I'd show you just the process we're using to remove the pistons. Took the nuts off, and then normally these caps you can just tap it lightly while you're pulling it and it'll pop loose usually. Bearings look good. Okay. And when you're pulling these off, if you're trying to save the bearings and stuff, actually that bearing came off.
Fancy.
Yeah. Yeah, I was showing the I wasn't showing you the bearing when I was showing that, but Not bad. Okay, so when you're pulling these off, you don't want to damage the crank journal, the bearing journal, with these threads. So a lot of times we tried it putting a hose on here, but then we couldn't get it out of the cylinder wall. So I'm just being very careful not to hit the bearing surface with the threads. Got my finger in between the bearing surface and the threads.
There you go.
Is it the top of the cylinder?
Yeah, it's coming out.
Okay. There's a little bit of carbon on the top of that cylinder. That's why there's a little more resistance.
Alright, just about out. Keep going. I can actually get out myself.
There you go.
There we go.
And then you just pull it out slowly so you don't scratch the cylinder wall. And you just keep doing that for all 8. We'll get them out. Alright, so we got all the pistons out, nice, no broken rings that I saw, so I'll inspect it better later. We got the bearing caps off the crank, and we're going to lift the crank out. Everything looks good, nice and shiny surfaces. So far this motor is impressing me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Got it? Yeah. Set my hand down. Lift your end up. There we go. Cool. Alright. Yeah, the bearing came out. That's all. 1, 2, 3. Got them on there, so we're good. Yeah. One way to identify a Ford crank and a Mercury crank. This little Welch plug right here is a clean out hole for the oil passages, and if you can fit a pencil in there, it's a Ford. If you can fit your pinky in there, it's a Mercury, most likely. Although I have seen, actually in my coupe there, I have a Canadian crank and it has the small hole for a Merc crank. So it's not always, but that's the easiest way to tell. Pencil Ford, pinky Merc. Okay, we're doing the dreaded portion of disassembling an old flathead, removing the valve assemblies. I found very seldom do they come out easily. The easy way, of course, is to use your long valve tool, and you can turn that spring to where you can see the little groove on the valve guide. Put your tool in there and then pry down on the valve guide, and you'll be able to pull the horseshoe clip out. Once the horseshoe clip out, the whole assembly can usually pushes out the top. Go ahead and try to push it out with the bar. With the bar, just pull the whole, pushes the whole assembly out. Yeah, see there? Go ahead.
Oh.
Oops. Anyway, that's the easy way they come out. And me, since I'm going to try to reuse all these, I'm bagging each assembly to replace it in the exact same spot. So the next thing we'll show you is the hard way if one of these gives us a problem. Okay, well that didn't take long. The very next one we tried giving us a hassle. So we tried to pull down on the valve guide to get the horseshoe clip out. It would not go. So luckily though, on this motor all the valve assemblies moved up and down, so it's just the guide that's stuck. So we're going to go ahead and the little forks on these pry bars, if you just hook barely on the bottom of the little cup retainer, you can lift the valve assembly up, and I'll tap the valve and it
Not coming yet.
no, you're too much on the
Oh,
cup, just barely on the cup. Ready? There you go, like that, and it pops the lock rings, the little locking clips out of there. So then, what you can do...
You want to try to get these clips out first?
Yeah. There's one. Then what you could do is use your pry bar to lift up on the spring, and then you can remove the little cup and the keeper.
Is that right there?
Yeah. Oh, we gotta remove the valve. Sorry about that. Gotta remove the valve, so if you want to push up on the valve, if you can.
Is that the whole thing again from the bottom?
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Remove the valve. That's the next step. And now you can push up on that spring and remove the... Then the little cup comes out. And then remove that little bottom one there. Or we can just remove the whole spring. And then you pry on the bottom of the spring, kind of sideways and out. Cup. Go ahead. I just didn't want it to pop on you. Sometimes you can just pull them out depending on where it is in the engine. Here you go. Go.
Yeah, not bad. Thank God for editing. Oh my God, I'm just dropping everything in here.
That's okay. Go ahead and try to push it this way. The bottom of it this way? Yeah.
There we go. A little tension on it though.
Okay, let off on it. Almost.
Nice.
There we go. Then you get the spring out. I took a broom handle and cut a little chunk out. Now we're able to push the valve guide out. Hopefully. Yep, there it goes. And there's the whole assembly. And that's the only way I know of getting them out without damaging the whole assembly. Okay, got all the valve assemblies out. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the water pumps. And one thing a lot of guys miss or don't know, that inside the water inlet is a bolt you have to remove. They're on both sides and they're usually rusted in there. This one broke loose. We haven't tried this one yet. Okay, after all the valves and the lifters were removed and bagged, we removed the cam in another spot. There's the oil galley plug here that you need to pull out so that you can, I use a rifle bore cleaner and you clean that whole tube out. Alright, got it all disassembling. I gotta say that was the easiest flathead disassembly that I've had. Wasn't bad at all. Broke one head bolt that we got to still get out, and take the rear oil drive gears out before we take it to the machine shop. Got to clean it up. I'll clean it up, and once it's all clean, I'll take a wire and everything and clean out all the water passages real good. Try to get as much rust and sand and everything out of the water passages as I can. That'll help cooling. And yeah, that's it. So I gotta pressure check it too. Okay, that pretty much completes the disassembly of the block. Once we get ready to take it to the machine shop, I'll take off the oil pump drive gears once it's off the engine stand. But other than that, everything is out of it. Yeah, that was the easiest disassembly yet of a flathead. I really don't think that this engine had much time on it after it was rebuilt, because things came apart fairly decent for sitting for, I don't remember if the guy told me 20 years or 30 years, but been sitting for a long time. And I need to do a little cleanup on it and pressure check it before taking the time to take it to the machine shop, because if it doesn't pressure check, then no sense of wasting money and time. But yeah, pressure check and a cleanup, and then to the machine shop. So we'll come back when we get it back from there. Thanks for watching, everybody.